Right, today I'm going to be showing you how to do an oil change on a BMW 3 Series. This is the F30, well I've got the F31, and specifically the 2 litre diesel engine. And it's pretty much the same across the board from the 4 Series as well. I'm not sure about the 3 litre engines, but I mean the sump plug's going to be in the same place really in it. So all you're going to need is a jack, some stands or ramps, whatever, just some way of getting the car off the ground so you can get underneath it. Your oil and an oil filter. Oh, almost fell over. Now this isn't a full service video. I've got another video where I've done a full service where I do the air filters, the cabin air filters and the fuel filter and that as well. The audio in that video is not quite great. I've got a different camera since then. But if you can bear that not so great audio in that video, that's a full service video and I go through everything in there. So this is just an oil change that I'm doing in between the full services, just as a bit of extra maintenance for the car, just to help take care of it. So first thing, let's jack the car up and get it on the stands. Right, so now the car's in the air, we're going to do the first thing, which is drain the oil. You're going to need an oil pan which is at least going to be able to hold 5.2 litres of oil, because that's how much it should be in the engine. If there isn't that much, then you've probably got a problem somewhere. But before we go underneath, I'm just going to open the bonnet and undo the oil cap and pull the dipstick a bit, just so that there isn't like an air seal and the oil can actually drain out easily. Now another thing that's worth noting is if you're doing this on your driveway, then you might want to run the car for 5 minutes or so. I mean, I drove from my house to where I'm doing this, so I don't need to. But just run the car for like literally 5 minutes. Don't get it up to full temperature, but just run it for a little bit to get a little bit of heat in the oil, so then it'll drain out much easier. Right, so under the car now, you want to find this flap here, and you want a flat-headed screwdriver and just undo this little thing to there, and then pull this flap down, and that is your sump plug. So you want to get a 17mm socket, and you want your tray, your oil pan, ready, because this is going to come out when you want to do this. So you want to get your socket on there, it shouldn't be too tight if the previous person has torqued it correctly. Right, here we go. Now be careful, because you don't want to do what I did last time and drop the sump plug in the oil pan. And I didn't drop the sump plug this time. Oh, hey. Right, so while that's draining, we're just going to come up here and take the oil filter out, because that will also release a bit of oil at the bottom. So pop the cover off, it comes off dead easily. And our oil filter, you want to remove these out of their little clips, is that thing there. You're going to need a 27mm socket and a load of tissues or an old rag or something, because obviously this is going to be soaking through with oil. I mean, you don't need a 27mm socket, you could just use an adjustable spanner or something. So get out of the way. Moment of truth. There we go. Don't think I spilt anything. Right, my glove just snapped, so I guess I'm wearing this. This is the only other glove type thing I could find. I don't want to get mine covered in oil. So, the oil filter, we need to change the O-ring on here and get a new one with your new filter. So I've gone for a man filter just because it's the one I went for last time and not had any problems. So there's your filter. And in there you've got the rubber seal and that copper washer, which is the sump plug washer, because we're going to be changing that. You need to put a new one on every time you do an oil change. So let's take this out. So we're going to take the old rubber seal off and throw it away, because we got a new one. And the new one, you don't just want to go in dry. You should never go in dry, so we're going to lube it up with a little bit of fresh oil and put it on there. Alright, so that's got some fresh oil on it. Let's put that on there. Lovely. And then new filter literally just goes on there. Push it in so it's a nice firm click and it's not going to come out that easily. So the oil filter has this little notch on it there. and there's a hole for that in the oil filter housing. So see if I can't get the torch in there and you'll be able to see it. There you go, you can kind of see it in there. So you want to be getting that in the hole. And then all we're going to do is tighten that back up, just hand tight, and then we'll torque it down properly later at the same time as we do the sump plug. So now when all the oil's stopped draining out of there, you're going to get your new sump plug washer and put that on your sump plug, and then stick that. Plug your sump then. Do that just very slightly hand tight, and then you want a torque wrench. This needs to be at 25 Newton meters. However, I've seen a lot of things on forums where people say you don't actually need to torque it, just do it fairly tight but not too tight and you'll be right. Here we go. There's the click. And I'm also going to give this quick spray with some brake cleaner just to clean that off. And then we can put the flat back where it belongs. Voila. And while your torque wrench is set to 25 Newton meters, you can do the oil filter cap as well, because that's also 25 Newton meters. There you go. I'm going to put the engine cover back. I'm going to drop the car back down now and then put in some fresh oil. For putting your new oil in, you want to consult your owner's manual, unless you're doing the exact same car as me, in which you can just take what I'm saying. But I'm using Castrol 5W30 and this is LL04, which is long life 04, which is just what the manual says. So in a BMW manual anyway, see if you can see this here. So it says for diesel engine you want BMW long life 04, which is what that is, and you can use any of these selection of oils here. So 5W30 is on there. There's also 5W40, 0W30 and 0W40. Now annoyingly in the manual it doesn't actually say how much oil you need to put in the engine, but after doing some research online I found out it's 5.2 litres for the 320D engine. Now this is a pre-facelift, I don't know if it changed because I think the engine changed in the facelift of the F30. So just make sure you research that properly if you're servicing a different car to me. Now you'll be able to see on the side you've got these measurements here, so it's fairly easy to judge where it is, but if you really wanted to measure it out, I suppose you could put it in a measuring jug, but I'm fairly confident about judging it on the side here. Well, that's the oil filter and the oil change done. Now I'm pretty confident I've put the right amount of oil in, but if you just want to double check, then you can just run the car, then turn it off and wait and check the oil as you normally would with the dipstick and on the computer, if you just want to be sure that you've got the right amount of oil in. Thanks for watching. I hope you've learned something and enjoyed the video, and hopefully you'll be able to save a bit of money now rather than paying someone else to do your oil changes for you. Now remember, this isn't a full service, this is just an oil and filter change which I'm going to be doing between full services. So if you want to see a full service video, go to my channel. I've got a video on there which is doing a full service on this exact car, and that's doing the air filter, cabin air filter and the fuel filter as well as the oil. So make sure you go and check that one out. I must admit the audio is not very good. I've got a better camera since then, but if you can bear that audio and deal with it, then that's a good video to show you how to do a full service. And also a quick note, I'm not a trained mechanic, so I can't obviously take responsibility if you mess up and break your car. So thanks for watching. Please like the video, leave a comment and subscribe to the channel.